things that you need to study, and if you hit this, you will study everything. And it gives you exactly step by step. All right, I'm going to write a 1 or 2 sentence thing about this, or a 1 or 2 sentence thing about this. Or maybe I don't know my privileges and limitations as well. Maybe I should look that up a little bit, get a good understanding, and then force myself to write 1 or 2 sentences about it, right? Because when it comes time, when the person's asking you questions, they don't want to hear an entire book's worth of information on a simple question. Short and concise. And what that tells them is 2 things, is that clearly you understand it because you can explain it shortly. And 2, you're not fishing around and allowing them to poke holes in things that you're saying, right? Well, he said this, but I think what he meant was this. So I'm going to start poking around and seeing what he actually knows. Short and concise, it'll save you time, and that's what really the examiner wants, okay? But each one of these things, as far as until we get to that flying section, has a knowledge box, right? And at the very bottom, right here, where the standard is for what they expect, okay? So he demonstrates the ability to apply the requirements of PIC in a VFR situation, right? And then literally it just goes. So just take 1 or 2 of these things every day, really every day for about 2 weeks before your check ride. And try to minimize yourself to about an hour, hour and a half. It forces you to focus your time that you have to actually study, and then it also forces you to take a break. Get this stuff out of your mind, in the back of your head, in your subconscious. You're still filtering it through, still understanding the information. And if you're doing it every single day, it's staying fresh in your head, right? You're getting into the mindset, the good study habits that you need to build going forward, right? Guys, this is the first step. We're building on everything you're doing here. So here's the foundation. Here's where you really need to spend the time to understand this stuff. It gets infinitely more complex after this, I promise you, okay? And if you don't understand something, and if you can't really find a good answer for it, the internet is a good tool. It is also a deep, dark rabbit hole that can suck you in and give you a lot of misinformation. Because anybody can put anything on the internet. Doesn't make it right. So what do you need to do? Find the FAA source, look up, if you have a question on ice fog, advisory circular ice fog. If there is an advisory circular, something the FAA put out, that they found this is a big problem and here's some steps we can do as pilots to help mitigate this, it will be an advisory circular. That is an FAA source of a document that they put together saying, this is what we found that helps, or these are some steps you can do to get out of this kind of situation, or equipment, or whatever, and that's it. Also, call your instructor. If your instructor's an idiot, call someone more experienced. Jim Moss, right? All these, that kind of thing. And seriously, so this just really is your roadmap to everything on the checkride, right? Hopefully I'm not showing you anything new that you guys don't know. But use this as your study guide. It focuses your time. You're not thinking, well, I'm weak on airspace, so I'm gonna read a bunch of airspace, but I forgot to go over regulations and performance charts and cross-country planning and everything else, right? So it prevents you from focusing on one area. And then it's gonna bring stuff up that you didn't even consider, that you may be judged against. But then once we get down to the airplane stuff, right? So if it says single engine C or multi-engine C, obviously that doesn't apply to your certificate, so you can skip that. You don't need it. I mean, at some point, hopefully, bless you 2 times.
Thanks.
If you're going to go for a single engine C certificate or a multi-engine add-on or something, come back to it and read it, but that's later, right?
Later.
But the point is, this is your helpful study guide tool that was prepared for you by the guys who are going to be judging you, right? And then once you get down to the maneuvers, it has the standard, okay? So I'm pretty sure all you guys can probably hit the standard already. Let's just pick a go around water. 100 maneuvers. Okay. So what are they looking for? Okay, that you understand the effects of wind, ground tracks, bank angles. This happens to be a rectangular course, right? Says it right there on the bottom. And then what are the skills that you need to exhibit while you're actually doing this, okay? Enter the left or right pattern, 6 to 1,000 feet above the ground, and appropriate distance. 45 degrees down and right, wind at your back. It has all the guides for you. And then check that out right there at the bottom. What are they really looking for? You can maintain plus or minus 100 feet, plus or minus 6 knots. That's a huge margin, guys. Really phenomenally wide, like Grand Canyon wide. Okay, so understand this as well. If you can't hit the standard, then you need more practice. Everyone needs more practice. I didn't hit my private in the minimums. This stuff did not come natural to me. Some guys out there are natural skill pilots. I was not one of them. I had to work my butt off to get there, okay? There's no rush. It's expensive, but we got to build hours anyway. Whether that's in training or on our own or as an instructor getting paid for it, right? Hours are hours. So look at the big picture, okay? If your instructor tells you you're not ready, you're not ready.
Yeah.
Okay. Any burning questions about how to go through the ACS? No.
Might have them later when I'm going through it.
Yeah, and seriously, guys, contact your instructor, contact me. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you to probably call Jim Moss because the man knows everything. And he's who taught me through commercial and CFI and multi-engine. He knows his stuff, right?
He's here Monday through Friday still, right?
He's like, he need to be here so he can charge you for it.
I'll ask questions just to solidify stuff. So looking at one block that references ground reference maneuvers.
What page is it in?
I'm at 35. I think you were at 35 a minute ago. So ground reference maneuvers covers all ground reference maneuvers.
Rectangular course, S-turns, turn point. Yeah.
So doing the check ride, you're not necessarily going to do all. You're going to do one or the other, or maybe two or something.
Have it in your head that you're going to do all.
Okay.
Be prepared.
And then reading this, you're going to look at task, the reference where it's from,
right.
Objective. The knowledge is what you should know. Well, right on. Is that saying what you should know? Like you can demonstrate, you understand.
So these are the elements.
The effects.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. And then if you do have further questions, where do you look it up before you call someone?
Go to the references.
Right here.
Yeah.
It tells you exactly where they got it from.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Because they put out the BHAC. They put out the airplane flying handbook. Right. The FAA did. That's an FAA book.
Yeah.
They made it. It's free on the website.
Mm-hmm.
You can look it up.
And the next block, risk management, that's you demonstrating that you understand the risks associated with certain failures to this maneuver.
Correct.
Okay.
The dangers of basically flying an airplane.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the skills is what is basically for the steps.
This is where
practicing.
This is kind of stuff they may try to trip you up on.
Okay.
They're going to ask you to step in the airplane while it's happening.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So if I have you do right, technically we're allowed. If I do a right down, one down here, we're just outside of Merrill's airspace. We're not inside Ted Stevens airspace. I can be squawking VFR. I don't have to be talking to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
We can be doing maneuvers out there by those mountains, right? We have to stay real tight against those mountains for us to stay out of Merrill's airspace. We can do it. What are some of the dangers associated with that?
You're talking about to the north?
Right, just over Muldoon, on the
Gotcha.
outside of Muldoon.
Okay.
Inbound traffic,
Inbound traffic,
winds off the mountain.
CFIT,
Yeah.
weather, all that kind of stuff is what they're looking for, right?
Gotcha. Okay. And the skills block is basically the steps that you need to have as a skill.
That's your
perform
maneuver
that
description
maneuver.
guide, right?
Okay.
That's your maneuver guide.
So that's PAVBS3A. That's like a document, or is like a pair all the way in the left column? Like,
No, that is
That's
just their
theirs.
identification.
that's
So
to their source
this
document.
is
Testing.
PA
private airman
private airplane.
certificators, section 5.
Oh, okay.
Right, so section 5, and then skills section number 1. I'm not sure what the B stands for.
Paragraph B.
B, ground reference maneuvers, right?
Okay.
So private airman, section 5, paragraph B, S1,
Skill
S2, S3, right?
Skill one. Okay. Yeah.
Risk management.
Skill 1.
Knowledge one. Yeah.
Okay,
That makes sense.
good questions. Anything else?
They don't all come to me now. I'll probably have later.
Yeah, that's fine. But this is all the stuff that they're expecting you to know, right?
Yeah.
there's 100 pages in here.
Yeah.
You don't have to do all 100 pages, right? Some of it's C-rated stuff, some of it's multi-engine rated stuff. But all the stuff that pertains to you, airplane, single engine land, hit it up, study it, write a 1 or 2 sentence thing about each one of these things, right? And that will help you get to where you need to be.
Nice.
One thing I did with mine, I went through it and I highlighted like topics that I need to look at. And,
Yeah.
And then I
Taking
X'd out
notes on it.
I X out all the ones that like the
You're
seaplane.
very sure about. That's fine.
Yeah. So I went through it. Once you break it down, it's not a whole lot of it. I mean, there's a lot of information in here, but it's doable.
It's mostly stuff that you already know.
Yes. And then once you dig into the stuff you don't know, that's where the information is a lot.
Correct.
Once you break this down, it's not it's not that bad.
No, it's not. Okay. Randy wanted me to go over the regulation kind of stuff with you guys. If you guys feel you need that, that's fine. If you want to hit up non-towered airport traffic patterns, that's something that's more near and dear to me because that's a little bit more safety conscious thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the regulations thing is really something you guys have to just read and do when you're home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you have questions about that, that's fine. But we only have about another hour. So if you want to go over non-towered airport operations, a little more critical.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
So, guys, I want you to write this down. I'm going to give you verbatim exactly what you need to say when you're entering a non-towered airport. How many of you guys have been to Wasilla and Birchwood and Palmer and all that stuff? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wild West.
So
Sometimes.
there's always 3 things whenever you're in an airplane that you need to communicate to whoever, whether that's other airplanes, whether that's air traffic control, whatever. All right, if you've been in the military, you probably have a good idea of how that communication needs to go. Hey, you, this is me. Merrill Tower, this is Diamond 02 uniform. This is where I'm at, 2 miles north of Point No-Name at 3,000 feet. This is what I want. I'm inbound to Merrill for a full stop, or I'm inbound to Merrill for pattern work with information, whatever, right? Hey, you, this is me. This is where I am. This is what I want. Always the same 3 things. The order does not matter, except for, hey, you, this is me, so that they know to listen, right? That's all we need to do. We are going to a non-towered airport. It is whatever airport's traffic pattern it is who we're calling. Wasilla traffic, Birchwood traffic, Palmer traffic. So just draw a blank space. Why would you give me a yellow Sharpie? Okay, so blank traffic. This is, and then tell them you are Cessna, whatever with your tail number, Diamond, whatever with your tail number, right?
Now you say the type of aircraft so that they can recognize what you are.
So also, you tell them, I am so this is your N number, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am a white diamond. I am a pink balloon.
Yeah.
Whatever. It gives them a description. Okay, he said he's an airplane. I'm looking for an airplane. I don't see an airplane.
Yeah.
Right?
So he's a pink airplane. Looking for a pink airplane.
Yeah, I'm looking for something different because it gets busy out there.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I am a whatever. That's no white 172 or whatever, which is almost always the case. That's that great. Another white 172. I am, give a distance, direction, and altitude. Okay. I am 5 miles to the south, inbound for whatever, at 2,000 feet, at 1,500 feet, at 1,000 feet, okay? Make sure if you're talking to the tower and they're reporting, if you heard the ATIS, 2,000 foot ceilings, that you're not saying you're at 2,100 feet. That's not legal. You are in trouble. Okay? Can't overstate that one enough. Right? It's common sense, but people do it. They're just, oh yeah, I got the this, it looks good. And I'm on top of the clouds. Hey, I'm over here. Check, what altitude are you at? Because now they're writing it down.
Yeah.
I'm about 500 feet above the clouds. Yeah, you're still not legal. Actually, you need to be 1,000 feet above the clouds. So what's your tail number again? Who are you? You got to avoid that situation. Okay? And then inbound for whatever runway and whatever traffic, right? I'm inbound for left traffic, runway. We all know that left traffic standard, right? But it's not always the case.
Usually.
Wasilla has right traffic, Birchwood has right traffic, Merrill has right traffic. There's no really a standard. It's just whatever it is. Okay? Wasilla traffic. This is Cessna 35339er. I'm a white 172. I am 5 miles to the south, right? Distance and direction at 2,500 feet. I am inbound for the pattern, runway 22 at Wasilla, okay? So we always end again with the traffic pattern. Because if we're out there, right, and we are going to Wasilla, or if we're going to Big Lake or Willow, they all have the same radio frequency.
And they're nearby.
And they're all close. So you need to start with the traffic, end with the traffic, so that people know who to listen for. And then it's just the normal calls when we're in the pattern, right? Wasilla traffic, Skyhawk 339er, downwind, left downwind, runway 22 Wasilla. Wasilla area traffic, Skyhawk 339er, left base, runway 22 at Wasilla. I'm on final. Wasilla traffic, Skyhawk 339er, I'm on final, runway 22 at Wasilla. It happened to me 2 days ago. We were in the pattern for an hour. We're making all these calls, and someone called up, I'm half mile final for runway 4. No, you're not. We're coming in on 22 right now. Oh, I didn't hear you. Yeah, it's because you didn't turn your radio on. I got mad because we're coming in on the runway like this.
Yeah.
Be on your guard. People out there are idiots.
Wild West.
They are idiots. Legally, they don't have to talk to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. It's a courtesy. It's also something that's going to keep you alive.
Yeah.
But some of those guys out there don't care about that. It's unfortunate. Okay. It's happened to me. I can't even count on one hand how many times that's happened to me. All right. Be on your guard. Okay. This works for any non-towered airport. This also works for Merrill after the tower's gone down, right? Merrill traffic. I'm inbound over Ship Creek. I'm making right traffic, runway 7. Okay. All that stuff. So it works for any time a tower is not operational. Okay. Now let's talk about non-towered airport entry techniques, right? Because that's arguably even more important. How do I get visibility on the runway if I'm coming in from somewhere, if I'm coming into a runway I've never seen, I've never been to, okay? I want to check out and see as much of this thing before I land on it as humanly possible, okay? And now it depends on which way the traffic pattern is, right? Generally it's standard traffic, right? But it could be something different. So we're just going to imagine that north is up here, okay? All right. If I am coming in from the south, I'm going to make sure that I'm entering into traffic over here, unless someone else is there using the pattern or unless the prevailing winds tell me different, okay? But we're just saying 0 winds. I'm out here by myself, okay? So if I am an airplane flying in from over here, what am I going to do? I have options, right? I come in, book answer, 45 to the downwind, and then just start making my calls and everything over here, right? I got pretty good visibility on the runway. I can see the windsock. I can see if it's plowed. I can see if someone crashed on the runway, or if they're having a barbecue out there, like they do at Goose Bay all the time, right? It gives me pretty good visibility. What am I, as the safest guy out there, going to try and do, because I got kids to go home to? I'm going to overfly this thing at 500 feet above the pattern. I'm not going to enter the downwind from there even though. I'm going to fly even farther out. Because what this is doing, I'm checking my area to my left. Is anyone coming from over there that's not talking on the radio? I'm checking to my right. Again, same thing. Is anybody out here that I cannot see or cannot hear? Okay, double checking everything. I'm looking down if for some reason the ATIS is down or the AWAS or whatever it is. I'm looking for the windsock. Which way is the windsock actually coming from? Because reported can be different from one way, running in the runway from another, right? You guys have flown here enough.
Yep.
That tower is over at the other end of the runway, and here it's going almost 90 degrees different. 4,000 foot runway is a lot of space, right? It's almost 2 miles. Okay? It's not almost 2 miles.
Almost a mile. I wasn't going to correct you.
Not almost 2 miles.
Almost
a mile. Thank you. I was like, wait a
Ted
minute.
Stevens.
That ain't right.
Ted Stevens is almost.
All right. So what am I actually going to do? Now I could turn here, right? And now I'm safe. I've seen about everything, but I'm still not seeing stuff that's over here that I could have potentially missed or coming behind me, right? So what I'm actually going to do is turn all the way across, fly out opposite the traffic pattern, away from the protected side of the runway, okay? And I'm using this turn to descend, to do my flow check, okay? I'm on both. I got my mixtures all the way in. I don't really need to think about pulling the power back yet, maybe a little bit to help me get back down to that traffic pattern altitude, but I'm taking my time. There's no rush whatsoever. This is giving me visibility this whole way around again of anything that might be over here that might have come behind me since I've missed it. And I'm descending and entering the traffic pattern from here. Okay, this gave me a full 360-degree view around this entire airport. This gave me, I can see the runway. It looks like it's slick. Okay, so I'm gonna start getting that in my head. No brakes, real soft, or it's deep snow. So maybe I don't even want to land here at all.
Yeah.
It told me where the windsock is. It told me, is anybody taxiing around that I didn't call out or anything, that didn't turn the radio on yet. And then I'm able to establish how far out should I think I need to go before I'm in the downwind, right? It's hard to judge when you're coming in from out here. It gives you time to pick a geographical marker, a house, a road, a mountain, a lake, whatever. Okay, so I've been flying for about a couple minutes. I think about a half mile away. There's a house over there. There's a mountain over there. Hey, there's a lake over there. All right, so when I come back around, I need to be heading towards that lake. Come back around, and now I'm established on the downwind. Okay, also important, once you're in the downwind, pick something on your horizon. Okay, I'm parallel, runway's right here. That crosshair is where that cabinet is. Okay, I need to keep that on my nose so I'm not cheating it, right? So now I'm gonna end up high because I've been kind of just, all right, checking everything, and I'm kind of leaning left because my runway's there and that's where I wanna be. There's my mountain peak. I'm gonna keep it out there. I'm looking around for other traffic. I'm making my call out, doing another little flow check. I'm gonna be my landing point, and now I'm gonna start making my configuration change. Flaps, power 15, diamond. I don't remember what all that is. I'm sorry. Okay. And then everything is normal with pattern, right? This gives you the safest margin of operation for entering a non-powered airport. Okay. So that combined with talking, what you got?
So a question on, if you were to do that and your windsock is the opposite direction of what you expected, would it be proper to do your 180 turn, overfly again, and then do your descending turn into the opposite downwind that you just say you were expecting that traffic into runway 99, right, east, yeah.
Okay, so the standard pattern is there for a reason. They're trying to keep us for noise abatement procedures. And then so Wasilla, the reason Wasilla is the way it is there's almost nothing on this side of the runway, right?
Mm.
So Wasilla is this way, right? As is Birchwood, as is Merrill, really. Merrill's different because it's complicated. But this is how this usually is. And this depends, again, on the direction that you're coming from.
Yeah.
We've listened to the wind. I think I have a good idea of which runway I want.
Right.
Okay. Now, if it was standard left turns and I had just done all this and the windsock was showing me something totally different.
Change.
If I'm out there by myself, there's no one else around, this procedure has given me all this visibility. I'm going to turn out this way and come in for the runway, right? Not the standard, not the correct traffic pattern, but there's no one else out here. I've been making my calls. I've got 360 degrees of visibility. I'm just making a quick change according to the wind to be safe, rather than fly all the way out and then come back and then enter the normal traffic pattern.
Okay.
I am going to come out and then do this. And if I want to stay in the traffic pattern, I'm going to adjust and use the correct traffic pattern. But that's why we fly over it to check that windsock, so we can make that adjustment.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was my question was.
Now, if other people are out there using the runway, then we're using whatever runway they're using, right?
Yeah.
And we have to be careful overflying. I'm even going to overfly even if people are in the traffic pattern. Because I want to see how far out are they going on the traffic pattern? Are they staying in a standard box? Are they even using the standard traffic pattern? If I'm 500 feet above them, I'm not going to be anywhere close to them.
Are they talking? When I can see them, are they also talking? You know,
Yeah,
on the
did I
radio?
hear them, right?
Now,
That's a good question, though.
are you gonna, at what point would you radio call, hey, I'm flying 500 feet over traffic pattern, over flying airport? Like how far would you get?
So-
A mile or two?
I'm going to put you the same question. When you're coming into a non-towered airport, when is your first radio call going to be made to that airport?
About 15 miles out.
Okay, 15 miles is a good safe margin. So you're telling them your intentions. Hey,
Okay.
you listen to me. Hey, what's the traffic? Sky 35, 359, I'm over Goose Bay, or I'm on the west edge, or the west edge of Big Lake. I'm going to be inbound for 22, runway 04 at Wasilla. I'm going to overfly the runway
Okay.
at traffic pattern altitude. Is there any runway that anyone's using? Ask questions.
Gotcha.
Especially when you're on just a CTAF. Someone else out there's, probably Joe Schmo who got his pilot certificate from his dad who didn't really understand standard phraseology, right? Just ask questions. People are going to answer you if they're out there, hopefully. They say, hey man, I'm actually using the other runway. Perfect, I'll adjust. I'm going to come swing out. I'll follow behind you on the downwind. Right? It's just communication.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this standard hit thing every single time.
Okay.
Now, if we're going to Ted Stevens or Merrill, it's a little different, right? The tower expects us to use standard phraseology. And
Brevity.
control expects standard phraseology. But when we're flying a non-towered airport in Class C airspace, we can use standard phraseology, and if someone answers us back, we understand that they have a little bit of training, or maybe they've been flying for a little bit. But if it's a kid on his first solo and he's terrified, I'm making left turns, I'm on runway 22.
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you. I'm going to go completely somewhere else because I don't want to get in his way. I don't want to screw anything up for him, right?
Mhm.
Communication is the important part.
Yeah.
Right, so, and just, I usually do about 10 miles out. It's way more than fair. If you tell people 15 miles out, they're going to forget about you for one thing.
Yeah.
Or two, they're just not going to care.
Mhm.
All right, so yeah, this guy's 50 miles out. I'm just not going to say anything.
Okay.
That's good. The more safety margin you have, but it also depends on the quality of your radio. Can it reach 15 miles?
Yeah. Gotcha.
I ain't
Okay.
kidding. My buddy's 150. We use an ICOM plugged into the airplane. It is what it is.
Yeah.
We got a radio. All right. Does this all make sense?
Yes.
Any questions about that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Talkeetna, Talkeetna radio, where the FSS is. in
Okay, so there's
operation,
an FSS on the station.
that's a little different. It's still a non-towered airport, but you're still talking to somebody, you're still getting the ATIS and
Info.
and getting information. And
And they're telling you who's in the traffic pattern,
Yep.
who out there, whatever. Okay, so at 15 to 10 miles out, now it becomes Talkeetna radio,
Mhm.
Palmer radio. It's a courtesy. They're giving us a lot of information. They're helping us out a lot.
Mhm.
So let's acknowledge that they exist. Do we have to? No.
So you don't have to call radio.
Nope.
Okay.
You don't have to. Practically speaking, is that smart?
Always double check too, because there was this,
Why not use every resource at
Yeah.
your fingertips that you have?
So they tell you who's there and everything.
They're going to tell you who's there. They can tell you, actually, guys, the airport's been under a lot of heavy snow, or we haven't had any snow removal equipment, or we got snow removal equipment on the runway right now.
Yeah.
So you might want to think about either circling or slow it down, do some really long S-turns before you come into here, that kind of a thing, right? So it's Talkeetna radio, Palmer radio as your initial call out.
Mhm.
Talkeetna radio, this is Skyhawk 35339er. I am 15 miles to the south. My plan is to enter over the runway, 500 feet above traffic pattern. Talkeetna, I think, is 1,400. So I'm flying 2,000 feet over the runway. Is anybody using 1 or 1.9? Yeah, I got 2 in the traffic pattern right now. I got one said he's about to take off. He's actually going to be heading your way to the south. So keep out a look for him when you get about 10 miles into the runway. Winds are blowing actually better for runway 19 right now. So it might be a better option for you to use. Is there anything else you need help with? Nope, that's about it. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's still keeping traffic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But you're going to find some FSSs are a little more, they think they're a tower than others. Palmer is a perfect example. That guy will try to tell you exactly what you need to do. This is my plan. I haven't heard anybody else out there. You didn't tell me anybody else was out there. I'm following the standard procedures
Here's my intentions
for this airport. Well, you need to do this. State controller number.
Oh.
Oh, you don't have a controller number. So shut up and let me fly the airplane. I'm not saying be rude,
Yeah.
but you're the PIC.
Yeah.
You are in command of this ship.
Yeah.
Right? You're now, and again, we're not trying to be rude,
Mhm.
but we are being firm in our intentions.
Yeah.
If we're being safe, if we are following standard established procedures,
We're good.
we're okay. If someone's telling us to do something at an unfamiliar airport that I don't really know that is standard for him, and he knows people can do it, but I'm not capable of that. I've never been there. I've never done this. I'm doing what I need to do to get me and my kids or my crew safely to the ground.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Good question. It's happened to me in Palmer. The guy told us to break off and do non-standard turns for the runway. And I had a student pilot, and I said, nope, we're going to do exactly what our plan was. But we got guys coming in for this runway and this. Yeah, I already talked to them. I know where they're at. We're not even anywhere near them.
Did you have to say, please state control
I
number?
did.
And he shut
And
up.
he said, well, you should come in this because this is the standard traffic pattern right now. State controller number.
Silence. Did he reply after
I am
that?
not a controller, but this is what I'm advising you. I'll take your advice into consent.
Into consideration.
Okay? Into consideration, yeah. I'm not trying to be real. I'm not out there to be mean. Everyone in aviation generally is out there to get along. But some guys push the issue. And especially if you're flying Birchwood, right? Get a really good damn picture of what's going on at this airport before you even think you're going to land here. A lot of people with no radios have been cut off on short final there twice.
Golly.
Yes.
Wild West.
Okay? It is what it is.
Mhm.
Okay? Any more questions about non-tired airport ops?
Not if these guys want to move on to something else. I do have another one, but
Go for it, man.
all right.
That's why I'm here.
So I had an experience in Palmer. I had a hard time finding the airport. It was fresh snow, a couple inches fresh snow. And I had a real hard time. I mean, I had it on the map and I was flying to it, to fly over it.
Okay.
But I just couldn't discern the runways from the farm fields. And I had a really hard time with that. So I left to Butte, and then that was my waypoint. That was, I knew 5 miles from the airport. And I came back to the airport, still trying to find it. And by the time I seen it, I kept high over the traffic pattern.
Okay.
And then I was way high to even do an approach. So I just did a go around, descended, and then into the traffic pattern. So it wasn't right, but it was just at that moment, I was like, this is,
You're as safe as you can be.
yeah. So in that situation, is there any right thing to do, or just wondered?
There are other things that we can use.
Okay.
All right.
And like I said, I don't want to, digress into something different.
No, I mean, because if you're doing this, chances are it's going to happen to one of these guys that want you. Oops. So how often have you actually looked at the airport supplement?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as often as I can so I can figure it out.
Okay.
Salmon book.
The good old salmon.
Try to supplement. Do they update every exact amount of time or just as needed?
It's every month and a half, 2 months, something like
Yeah, I
that.
think it's quarterly.
Yeah, quarterly.
Couple months, January,
But it's free.
Yeah.
You can find
Yeah, it's
it right
about 2
here on the
months.
FAA website.
about 2 months.
And do a lot of things change? Is anybody gonna ding you if you have one previous version of the supplement?
They care if it's 2 years old though.
If it's 2 years old, well,
Yeah.
you need to update. Here's another perfect example. This is my bonehead move. So what I did, I went in, I made a chart for myself of all the airports, their CTAP or tower frequency, their ATIS information, the runways. If it's right traffic, I've signified it with an R. The runway length of the longest runway, if there's more than one, and the airport elevation. What does that give me? They give me traffic pattern altitude, right? 1,000 feet above. And that tells me as I'm bringing it down, if I can't see it or if I'm whited out because of the snow, I need to be about 350 as I'm hitting the ground, as long as my altimeter setting is correct, right? But then it tells me the length of the longest runway that I probably want to use just for margin of safety. I hadn't updated it in 2 years. Talkeetna is no longer 3618. It is 1919. I had it on my book as 3618. Okay, and that's not that old, right?
Yeah.
2 years, but changes. And especially there's actually something that was put out recently that magnetic north is changing more rapidly than some people have predicted. And so you really need to pay attention to those runway headings and what they're using as runways. Because Wasilla, for the longest time, they were still using 3 and 2-1 because that was what was painted on the runway.
Mm-hmm.
But as a magnetic heading, it was 2-2 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They didn't want to pay to repaint it.
They have since, but okay. What was it for Palmer?
So Palmer's on 193. The
Approximately.
in the what do you call this section?
Just the airport information section.
Yeah, 193 is Palmer. In my version here, this is not the
Oh,
newest
okay.
one.
Palmer, same thing. Okay.
They got a bunch of private.
Check this out. Okay. No, that's not a picture.
Yeah, they keep going down. It's those are all the private ones in Palmer. Then the municipal should be down a little further. Right there.
There's it.
Okay.
That's it.
So check this out. There's a lot of information right here, right? A little too much. What is one thing that you can use knowing the limited amount of navigational use that you know and not even having a GPS?
Picture.
They're always going to tell you exactly the center of where this runway is right here.
Mhm.
On the 067 radio, 25 miles from Big Lake, you will find Palmer Airport.
Nice. Is Big Lake Vortex, is it a DME? Does it have DME?
It does. Okay. So, and that every single airport has that. Okay. So you know if we're going out to the normal practice area and I just want to head towards Palmer, if I fly inbound or even if I just turn to 067 from important 067 from, and I fly 25 miles, I'm gonna hit Palmer. Does that help?
Yeah, yeah, no, it does.
That's,
And
I mean,
that's one tool I did not use that day.
most guys don't look at it.
I was
It's okay.
aware of that, but that's one thing. I
Okay,
didn't
and
use.
one thing, me and my paranoia and wanting to know exactly where I'm going, what else do I use? Okay. Okay, so here's our area, right? This is where we live.
Mhm. Google Maps.
Okay, so it looks like that's a runway, right?
Yep.
Can you guys see that even?
Yeah, it's slightly gray.
All right, I'm gonna look at satellite imagery, right? We have this tool. We begged for this when I was in the service, right? Any kind of satellite image we can get on the target, just so we can get any kind of familiarization with it,
Something.
is infinitely useful, okay? So look at this. All right, it looks like I get to stay over a river. There's potentially high-rising terrain. There's buildings over here. So if I'm flying this traffic pattern and I'm coming up this way,
I'm gonna turn off the front light.
or whatever this runway is, 16.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit the front light. This little.
Yeah, go ahead.
There we go.
Better? Okay. So me, again, being slightly paranoid and wanting to have as much information as possible, I know that if I'm flying this traffic pattern for this runway, right, 16, if I come out across this road, clearly a highly visible road, I can turn slightly beyond it, and then come across again, coming in.
Yeah,
I'm using geographical markers,
and that makes it super easy just looking at that.
right? So I've been to Palmer like twice. So of course I'm going to start looking at as much information as I can. Obviously I'm a little bit farther ahead than you guys, but this is the kind of things that you can look for. Just, okay, if I'm coming in, maybe I want to make a straight in, okay? So I want to make a straight in on this runway. Not looking at anything, right? Not looking at any kind of other information. That's runway 9, okay? So if I say runway 9, people have a good idea what I'm talking about, even if it's still been painted wrong, okay? Even if this image is old. If I follow, it looks like, okay, there's 2 major roads and a major highway intersections.
Buildings.
So it looks like if I somewhat follow this road in or somewhat follow this road in, that'll lead me some way, at least I can find the runway. All right, but even if I'm farther out, now what am I looking for? Okay, so it looks like that road actually does go out pretty far. And it looks like, oh, look, it's right up to Wasilla Lakes. Okay, so maybe if I just fly this road right here, all the way in, that's going to lead me straight into this runway. Or at least to the airport where I can make a different decision according to the winds. Does that help?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we get so wrapped up around the axle of I have to look at a chart, I have to look at my supplement. There is so much other stuff out there. Google Earth, measurement tool. I can measure, all right, what's half a mile from the end of this runway? Okay, so at that point, I need to return on final, right? What is half a mile from here? That's my pattern, right? I want to be flying roughly about a half a mile away. All right, looks like the base of the edge of this lake or this mountain. If I'm staying just off of it, I'm flying a good pattern. Use these tools. They're there. Use it. Okay? As far as a runway being whited out, that happens a lot, which is why I've pushed here, and honestly why I've decided to fly elsewhere, is I wanted to do mountain checkouts with you guys. Because I can put you into a whiteout situation, and you have no idea what's going on. Snow in front of you, snow behind you, and the sky is white, clouds. I'm basically in IMC, and now I'm in the mountains. What the hell do I do? How do I get some kind of depth perception and figure out where I'm at? Look out your left window, look at that tire. That thing's black on a white background. That immediately gives you at least, okay, I have some sense of depth as to how far I am above the ground, okay? It's just a quick, okay, I think I'm all right. Now I have a little bit sense of judgment of depth perception back, right? Because when everything's white or black, I have to use my instruments.
Yeah.
Well, even if I'm still VFR, I have that tool, right? I had a guy I was doing night cross country with the other night. He was going to burn it in, stuck in. We were going too fast. We were way too low. I knew it because I knew what to look for. So I had him quickly, hey man, how's your left tire doing? Oh, what? Oh, we're too low, man. Now that's dangerous to do that close to runway. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I'm in the right seat to help save it, right?
Yeah.
But he learned quick that it has to be a quick peak, right? I got a little bit of depth perception. Holy crap. I'm like burning in on this runway. We're at 80 coming into the runway about 100 feet off the deck. I had a little bit of a butt pucker factor. I was hoping he was going to fix it, but that's training, right? But use those tools, right? But the whiteout thing, what you're doing is as safe as possibly we can be. I'm orbiting over the runway, make a call out. If you weren't a dick to the Palmer radio guy. Palmer radio guy, I think I'm orbiting over the runway. I'm a new guy, I'm a new student. Can you help me out? He will.
Okay.
He totally will.
Okay. Yeah, I was talking to Palmer radio that day. The lady was there, and I was kind of discombobulated. There was a couple people in the traffic pattern. One of them left. There's one inbound. And I just left the area of the butte and then came in from a different way. So I could have talked to them more and been like, hey, I'm all messed up here, student pilot. Can you help me out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Communicate, man. Communicate at all times. You got to take your pride out of this whole thing. No one wants to sound stupid on the radio. No one wants to admit they don't know what they're doing.
But that could kill you if you.
You can get yourself in a real bad situation. No one cares.
Yeah.
They want to care that you can get yourself safely to the ground. And in all honesty, if I'm out there, I want to care that you're not going to crash into me. So I'm going to help you out as much as I can. Hey, man, tell me what's in front of you. Tell me where you're at. I'm looking out over the inlet and there's mountains on 3 sides of me. Okay, you're looking west. Fly west. Come back into this thing. All right? If it's me and I have a student and I hear someone make that call and I'm over Palmer, what I'm going to tell my student, hey man, pull a 360. We're holding right here while I'm giving you directions. The priority is to get you safely to the ground so that we can get ourselves safely to the ground without hitting you.
Yeah, oh,
right?
Makes sense.
Everyone in aviation, that's what I love about this industry the most. Safety.
Yeah. Everyone
Everyone cares about your safety. We all want to go out there and everyone wants to have those old salty, captain stories. Where, man, I was flying in the soup, I was coming in, and we didn't pop out until we were at 50 feet above the ground. Okay, that's great. While he was in it, he was terrified. And he was hoping he had someone to talk to, co-pilot, controller, whoever, to help him get safely to the ground. Right? Yeah, communication, man.
You touched on a straight-in approach. When we go out for a check ride,
Never do
don't straight out.
Never do a straight-in.
Okay.
Why would you never do a straight-in?
Because you haven't checked your airport.
You have no visibility on the airport. If you got an engine failure, that's one thing. And I can make a runway regardless straight in, however I'm going to do it. That's one thing.
Right.
If you got fuel and you got engine power, you got time.
Okay.
They're looking for more judgment. They're not looking for perfection.
Okay.
You should know roughly how to do the maneuver, at least close to what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
If you are starting to fail a maneuver, if I'm in a steep turn and I'm starting diving and I feel myself going, say it. All right, I feel my nose going diving down. I'm going to start to ease it back and we're going to correct this and get back to our altitude. If you're correcting it and you're catching your own mistakes, that doesn't give your examiner the chance to do it.
Okay.
Right? So he's hearing your judgment. You're noticing that you're making a mistake. You're noticing that you're trending in the wrong direction. You're making steps to fix it. You're not just allowing this mistake to get worse.
And add another mistake.
Now, is that even if you busted outside of limit, say your airspeed, you pulled back, but you didn't have enough power and your airspeed went down below 10 knots? But you corrected it. You said I'm correcting
With the
it.
exception of an FAA examiner, they're not really going to ding you too hard.
Okay.
Now, if it becomes a pattern on every maneuver, we're starting to
Yeah,
bust.
that makes sense.
But then even, look, if you fail one maneuver, if you totally failed your steep turns, and everything else was fine, he's going to fail you.
On the whole check ride?
But in order to complete that check ride, all you have to do is come back and do that one maneuver, and you're done.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
You get credit for everything that you accomplished within a set amount of time. I don't know, 30 days maybe?
Yeah.
2 weeks, something, whatever it is.
How does it work with a failed check ride? Like, do you have to explain that to every employer for the next 20 years?
It's on your record. Every pilot has a failed check ride though. But then there's a check ride for a certificate, like a category and class certificate, or a type rating. Everyone's failed one.
This is a private,
Literally
this is a
everyone?
private pilot check ride. This has got to be the lowest thing on the totem pole in the flying world, right?
I mean, for example, I know the guy that I hold in very high regard, failed his instrument ride on the dumbest thing. There's NOTAMs, right? If you're using a navigational facility to navigate, you probably should check and make sure it's in service before you go. Just saying. You didn't check. Using it as a navigational aid. I'm not getting any signal from it. Yeah, that's because it's not working right now. You just failed. But so that was instrument. He became an instrument instructor, and that guy knows the regulations of the books inside and out, like the back of his hand. I would not put anyone up against him as far as knowledge and skill of the airplane, right? It happens. They want to see you're learning from it. So if you fail your private, get your CFI. Make up for it. If you fail your instrument, get your double I. Make up for it. Understand and learn the material. If you fail your multi-engine, get your MEI. Demonstrate that you've studied, that you've worked to correct your mistake. That you've not just, well, it failed. I'm going to go up and do it again. Now I passed. Now I'm a multi-engine pilot.
Yeah.
So now you're a 50-50 guy. You passed once and you failed once.
Yeah.
That's okay. It happens. But they want to know that you're making the steps. And unfortunately today in the industry, they don't care. You fail one. Hey, what happened? I did this. Yeah, that was stupid. But you passed the next time. All right, great. Here's a job. It's just the way the industry is right now. Right? I didn't exactly cover what Randy wanted me to cover. Is there anything else you guys want me to go over? We got like a half an hour. Does all this make sense? This is important
Yes.
stuff. I'd
Yeah.
much rather cover this than the regs, right? The regs are something you guys have to read. I can spout it off to you, we can make this a written down class, but that's not why I wanted to come in the morning, right?
What did Randy want you to cover regs?
Randy wanted me to teach you guys how to study, which is, the ACS is how I study, how I
Gotcha.
focus my time.
No, that makes
how I make
perfect
the
sense.
use of my time.
It
And he
breaks it
wanted
down.
He wanted me to
step by
hammer
step.
the regs into you.
Okay.
You don't learn the regs by having someone else read them to you.
Using the ACS are the regs in the ACS at all? Like they're not like in there as a section.
They are.
Or are they? Are they
They're the very first one.
Okay.
So you see right here, as I'm going, whoa, wow, okay. Again, first thing I did is come back to the table of contents, getting that habit pattern,
Okay.
right here.
Yeah, I see it.
Pilot qualifications, airworthiness requirements. That's
all regs.
That's numero uno, okay?
Yeah.
For regulations, those are.
Well, okay, so now let's go look at them. So what does it want to know about the regulations? Pilot qualifications, okay? Requirements for certification, recent flight experience, and record keeping. What are your privileges and limitations, right? That's why I'm saying use this as a study guide. It's going to force you to get into all this, right? So he's not just asking you, so what are your pilot qualifications? That's a huge question, man.
Mm-hmm.
You mean as a private pilot, or a commercial pilot, or an ATP pilot? What do you mean? That's what it means. So this is, I mean, what you have to go over, what you need to know. So what are your requirements in order to get your private pilot certificate? And at a 141, they're different. We have to follow the syllabus explicitly in order to get passed. But for example, in a 61 environment, it's 40 hours, 20 hours of dual training, 5 hours of solo cross country, 10, 12 hours of solo time, 3 hours a night, that kind of thing. Right? They just want to say that you've checked all those boxes off. What do you need to have with you as a pilot in an airplane at all times?
Photo ID, like government issued photo ID, your student
Certificate, medical.
Medical.
Yeah.
What does the airplane need to have?
POH or it's
certificate, registration, POH, weight and balance.
Okay. What's the difference between a POH and information name?
POH is updated
Specific
to that aircraft.
Specific to an airframe, right?
to a tail number, I guess.
That weight and balance is specific to that airframe. Start looking for that, guys, when you get in the airplane. Make sure they're there. Okay?
I tap and make sure it's behind the seat, but I don't pull it out.
Where do you find the registration and airworthiness certificate?
Usually in a sleeve to the left,
Sleeve right there.
left to the right.
Where is the weight and balance?
It's in the POH. They usually have the
Hopefully.
POH.
Have you ever actually looked?
No.
I have. I'm not on every one of the
Not on every
aircraft,
flight, right?
But
Here is, they lead us into a safe zone.
Yeah.
If you're gonna start working elsewhere, hey man, there's no weight and balance for this airplane. Why isn't there a weight and balance? Well, it should be in a little plastic baggie in the glove box. Yeah, but it's not.
Gotcha.
Well, you can still fly it anyway. Actually, I can't. That's illegal. That's happened to me more than a few times already. Okay? Now, are you actually gonna fly that airplane? Right? You gotta get a lesson done, a student wants to learn something, or you really just wanna go up. What's the chances of you getting ramp checked? 1%? Less than 1%? So you can take that airplane out anyway?
It's your choice.
No, it's illegal. Don't do it. Because what happens if that's the one time you get ramp checked?
Done.
You're done. Did you just spend $10,000 to get your private pilot certificate to take a and then go have someone pull it away from you? Because that's what it is. He's taking $10,000 right out of your pocket. Don't do that. There's no, don't do it. If you're flying the Angel airplanes, inspect it every time. Every single time. Okay? Sometimes they're in the back by the baggage area. There's a little plasticized thing where they stick that stuff. POH is under the rear seat. Look. Each one of you is kind of thinking, I can get away with it, right? Don't do it. It's not worth it. You work too hard for this.
Too much money.
Okay? And even me, right? I'm over 70 into this now. Okay? Do you think I'm going to let a student take this airplane without looking for that stuff? Or me not finding it myself? Hell no. This is my livelihood, right? And who's always sniffing around here looking for violations? George O'Connor. Love the guy. Did my instrument check ride with him, but he will bust you for nothing.
George O'Connor.
Okay, he's an FAA safety examiner. That's his job. He wants to make sure you're safe.
Mhm.
And the reason he does the things he does and why I have no problem with it is he works like half of the 135 operations here in Alaska. He's seen people get killed for minor violations. And it's never just one thing, right? It's a chain. It
Stacks
leads.
up.
It builds. Okay? He's seen it too much for him to have any sympathy for you. You need to follow the rules. The rules are there. The regs are written in blood. It's
He's saving your life.
That's the way it is.
Mhm.
He's doing his best, okay? People give him all kinds of flack for it. It's not a glorious job, but it's a job. All right, any questions? Okay, what kind of medical do you guys have?
I have first class.
Same.
Mine's lapsed in the third.
But you got first class, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How long is that good for? How long is a first class medical good for?
6 months.
Second class?
Second class, it depends on the capacity of using.
Under 40.
I have to look it up.
I have to look.
So maybe we should go over the regs.
Also,
The medical's kicked my ass. Because I know it's 3 years for first.
Negative.
5 years under 40. Second class is 6 months too,
Second
right?
class is a year if you're under 40 years old. After a year, you're
Part
worth to
67.
third class. If you're over 40 years old, both the first class and the second class are 6 months. And you have 2 years for a third class medical.
Great. I'm about to be 40.
So, but you still have a medical. So when are you enter 40?
I'm 37 now, so another 3 years.
Get your
Well,
medical
2.5.
when you're like 39 and a half. Because then it's good for 5 years,
It's still even if you try.
Okay.
right? Because if you got it before, that's when it counts. If you get it when you're 40 in 1 second, it's 2 years.
All right.
But now, if you're gonna get a job, you have to maintain a current first class, so it goes out the window. But for purposes of training, you can be a CFI with a third class medical, which is what I operate under. But for most for commercial operations, you need to have a minimum of a second class medical. A current active second class medical. Okay. So go over the medical requirements, yes.
Okay.
Okay. How long is an airworthiness document good for an airplane?
Oh, so long as it's properly maintained.
What was that?
Until they tell you it's not.
That's right. It's good for the life of the airplane. As long as it maintains U.S. registration, it goes with the airplane. How long is the registration good for? And this one I suck on myself.
Now, the airworthiness certificate is good for the life of the airplane, but does that include if there's any modifications done to the
Now,
airplane?
if there's any ADs, or if there's anything like that, airworthiness directives, or something that has to come out with the airplane, they're gonna ask you to change the airworthiness certificate. And at that point, it becomes new, and it goes on. What's up, Joe? So, and I don't remember the date it is, but it is 3 years, all right, for registration. So I have to get that updated every 3 years.
And that'll be on the end of the
Registration
month,
certificate,
whatever.
be when it expires.
The last month or the last.
The last day of the
whatever
month.
you got it in.
Unless there's explicitly a different expiration date on that registration. That's correct. I don't see why there would be, but that's why you read the registration and find out when it expires. It's like your vehicle, right?
Mhm.
It's the last day of the month. But for some reason, you know, if you're turning a certain age and you need a certain medical exam, they might make it on your birthday. Right? What is, and this is one that I stumped a student on, this is a hard one because we don't deal with it. What is a minimum equipment list?
Minimum equipment list?
Yeah.
So the minimum equipment list is a list by the operator that determines what in the aircraft needs to be in the aircraft and functioning at a minimum. And if there's anything on that list that's not working, the aircraft's not airworthy.
Some manufacturers provide it, some do not, correct?
So we're confusing two things. We're confusing an equipment list and a minimum equipment list, which is basically what you described, Luke. The equipment list is in the POH for that type airframe, right? Have you seen an equipment list?
Yeah.
Have you actually seen one?
Believe so.
Okay, so it's listed with an R or an
Required.
A or an S, right? If it's
Yeah.
R, it's required equipment.
Yeah.
You have to have it. A is optional, or S is standard equipment on certain types of seats. What kind of seat it is a standard type of seat, or optional things. And minimum equipment list is something like what you said. A minimum equipment list is something that the operators, owners of this aircraft or air type have found that they need to have in order for this aircraft to safely be operating. They contact the FSDO. The FSDO comes out and examines and finds out that it is in safe operation. If they took something out, it's going to be a longer inspection, right? Something other than what's on the equipment list from the manufacturer, and they've changed it with something else, right? So they changed a kind of a GPS, or they added some kind of internal sensor, whatever it is. So as soon as they change that piece of equipment and the FAA comes and signs it off and found it to be safe operation of equipment, that is now the minimum equipment list for the airplane. And you are not allowed to fly without it.
That airframe or all of that type?
It depends on the type of minimum equipment list. It could be for one specific N number. It could be for a fleet of that one type of airplane for that operator, right? So for example, Samaritan's Personnel Soldotna, the Casa 212. They've added certain kinds of equipment to facilitate certain kinds of operations out to Port Ellsworth. They've gotten a minimum equipment list, I believe, for those airplanes. Don't quote me on this. I'm just giving you an example. That minimum equipment list is now overriding the equipment list for the airplane. Okay, because the FAA signed off on it, but you can't fly without anything on the equipment list being operative.
Is it overriding or in addition to?
In addition to most of the time.
Okay.
It could be overriding them.
Okay.
It depends on the wording in it.
It depends on what piece of equipment was changed or taken out, removed. Okay?
Okay.
So now, how about inoperative equipment? Can we fly with inoperative equipment?
It's placarded as inop and disconnected by maintenance personnel.
Okay. What if it's a required piece of equipment though?
No.
Okay, it depends.
How do we know? How do we know if it's required?
That list.
Right, so look at the equipment list. What else, right? There's some things that are not in that equipment list that are required. What about the regulations?
91-215.
There you go. So if it's not in the required equipment list, right, from the manufacturer in the POH, if it's not in the regulations under VFR required equipment or whatever type VFR night or IFR type equipment, then we can fly. But it has to be collared, circuit breaker popped, placarded as in on,
So like in some of our
or fuse pulled.
like some of our aircraft, the autopilot is
Exactly.
collared.
They're all collared and they're marked in right on top of it, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna be most of the 172s that you fly though.
Yeah.
All the autopilots are trashed.
Trashed.
Yeah, they just don't spend the money to fix them. They're expensive. You don't need it.
It's training. It's a training aircraft.
All right. So guys, definitely use this as a study guide, like I told you, because you need some work on the rigs. All right. Maybe there's a reason Randy told me I should have gone over the rigs. But you guys got a good lesson, I think, in the non-towered airport operations, right?
Yeah.
A little more warm and fuzzy about actually how to fly an airplane.
Yeah.
But again, so going back to the beginning of what we talked about, use this as your study guide. Okay. We got kind of into the gray area in the equipment list, so maybe we need to look at that. Where am I going to find that? Somewhere in here, right?
Part 91.
This is the book, PHAC Airplane Flying Handbook, I think.
See on 14 CFR parts 39,
I'm not sure.
43, and there's 91.
Or if it's in the rigs, right, the far end. And then just, again, a quick 1 sentence, 2 seconds, helps you read about it, understand it, but it helps you be concise. It proves that you understand it, you know it, and you're not just spouting off doctrine from a book, right? You can actually put it into your own words.
So you're saying researching it, and then writing a few sentences on that topic.
1 or 2 sentences.
To solidify what you're
right. 1 or 2 sentences for each thing, though, right?
I got you. Okay.
And then, so what's that doing?
It's just
built a study guide. So now when you need to go and refresh, all you can do is read about it again. And it's pulling it all back right out of your memory, right? And that's why you should be doing this every day. Only an hour, right? If you're taking more than an hour, stop. There's no rush, okay? Take the time, go hang out with the family, want to hike, go with a Fat Boy and get a burger.
Remember why you're doing this in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, you have to balance study and life, right? You're studying so you can enjoy your life. You want to fly airplanes because it's fun, right? It's also very hard work to actually be able to make money at it. So take the time now, enjoy the flowers, enjoy the evenings. We got some sunshine. Go take a beautiful walk in a park somewhere, right? Get your mind out of it. Force yourself to stop thinking about it, so that when you do come back to this,
you're refreshed.
You've already built up a little bit of that anxiety in the back of your head that I need to be studying. You're forcing yourself to get into it and actually pay attention more. You're going to stop chasing those squirrels around in your brain, right? Every little stray thought that happens. And you're just going to be in a more relaxed mind state. I've used this method because this was taught to me when I was in high school. Force yourself to take breaks, right? You're going to enjoy your life more. You're going to be more relaxed. So that way when the test comes, you're automatically going to be more at peace, more at calm. You're going to fight that test anxiety that everybody gets, no matter who you are. I have a multi-engine checkride today. A little bit of anxiety, right? It's kind of the big deal to get paid to fly twin-engine airplanes. I've studied. I'm trying to be as relaxed as I can, and whatever happens, happens, right? It's just a checkride. I know you guys have never been through one. Arguably, in my experience, the private's the hardest. Everyone says instrument or CFI. There's a lot more to them, but by that time, you already know how to fly an airplane, right? There's a lot more information to study. But now you've at least had some experience on the test, and you kind of know what to expect. Private, you're learning everything's new. You've never been in an airplane before, or maybe you have, but this is your first real test. Some guy's judging you who's never flown with you before, who doesn't really know you. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, right? And you want this. I mean, pilot is not just a job. Some people it's just a job. For me, I want to be a pilot since I was 3 years old, right? It's a dream. So it's a little bit nerve-wracking when you first learn. Just relax, get a good night's sleep before your first test, eat some breakfast, chill out. Hopefully your instructor is not going to send you up without you being actually ready.
I've been told that you're allowed to, if you wanted to, after the written, if you feel like exhausted after the written, you could say, can we schedule like the actual flying part of it tomorrow?
In the interest of safety, you say, look, my brain's fried. I don't know if I can handle flying right now. They're going to push you to do it because that's the point of the test, right? They want you to be tired. They want you to be at your worst. So that they know if you're at your worst and you're still competent, then you're good.
Okay.
So don't do anything that you think is unsafe.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to be unsafe, look, I can't even turn the master switch on because my eyes are blurring in front of my face. This is not a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll give you a statement of discontinuance. That's not a failure. That means we weren't able to continue for whatever reason, and we're going to continue at a later date. But for example, like the CFI ride, that's like a 6-hour oral or 7, almost 5.5, and then a 2-hour flight. The point of that is, as an instructor, I'm at the airport from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. Maybe I get 7 hours of flying in that time, but I'm talking with students, I'm doing this, I'm constantly hopping in and out of different airplanes. You're exhausted. They want to see you physically pushed so that they know when you become tired, when you're making poor decisions, that you're still making the best decision, the safe decision. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Anything else you guys got? Hopefully you guys got something out of it.
Thank you.
Seriously, if you have questions, shoot me a text. Talk to Randy. Jim Moss is the best source of knowledge in this building, bar none. If you can track him down, if you can get a little bit of time out of him, it's definitely worth your time. Plan on 3 times the length of conversation. Yeah. Because he goes on and on and on. But that's only because he's got so much to say, and it's all good stuff.
He's got a lot of experience.
How I also look at talking with Jim is I need to be firm and say, hey, I'm looking for this. What's the answer for this? Help me understand it. and then we're gonna move on. Because if you don't, you'll be stuck.
Rabbit trails.
And that's kind of a problem with most old guys. Great, awesome source of knowledge, very intelligent guy,
A lot of stories.
a lot of stories. All right,
Thank you.
I gotta go help the super glide airplane.
So so Brandon, you got your CFI. At what point did you get your CFI? After you got your commercial?
Well, you have to have your commercial in order to get your CFI.
Right, yeah, I guess, so you're still working on your multi-engine after you got your CFI?
So I had options, right? So once you get your commercial, there's a split path that guys can follow, right? Some guys, they throw their resumes out there and they start wanting to get hired right away. Nothing wrong with that, that's fine, I tried. I got bites back, but it's something I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
If you have your multi, you're even more hireable, right? But I like teaching. I've taught some form of something for the past at least 10 years, usually since I was about 15. I can't say that I've become a more skilled pilot being a CFI. I've learned how to fly from both seats. I guess there's that. But I don't fly airplanes anymore. I sit there and watch someone else screw up an airplane and say, fix it, fix it, fix it, we're gonna die, fix it. All right, I'll fix it, right? So you don't become more skilled. That's just a sad nature of things. You do become a lot more knowledgeable. You do learn how to deal with different types of people, right?
Yeah.
I got different types of students, right? I got a kid who's 18 years old, who's my little Bambi. He's walking a little bow-legged. He's scared of everything. And then I got a guy who's 40 years old, who's actually a commander of Navy SEAL detachment.
Very bold. Opposite ends of the spectrum.
Totally different kinds of people, right? So you learn how to deal with totally different kinds of people. But it's the easiest way to make money starting out. You're low time, who's really gonna hire you? For any 135 operation, you need to have a minimum of 500 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming from here, I did everything close to minimum except for private. I did my instrument, my commercial, and my CFI at the minimum. So I had 240 hours. Who's gonna hire me with 240 hours? Flight schools.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And it forces you to study, it forces you to pay attention.
Yeah, and the only reason I ask that is that's kind of the way,
I like teaching.
route I want to go.
It's draining, man. Being here constantly,
Yeah.
teaching people the same things over and over, doing the same
Reinforces
things.
it in you.
It's exhausting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But it's also extremely intrinsically rewarding.
Mhm.
For example, I had signed off a kid for a commercial yesterday. I had a kid go solo for his first time.
Uh-huh.
Like when you see someone come back and they're not just, okay, they flew the traffic pattern. That's your first solo, whatever, not that. Not really a big deal. It's a big deal, but it's not. When someone takes an airplane out and they go way out and they come back and they're safe on the ground now,
That's exhilarating.
and you see the look on them and knowing that you actually taught them how to do all that, you're helping someone accomplish their dream.
Mhm.
It's not just you're giving them skills to do a job. If that's what they want, that's fine. If you want to fly for a job, cool, good on you. It's a great job to have. For me, it's a passion. I love aviation.
Yeah.
I love everything about it. So if I can teach someone else how to do this, so much better,
Makes sense.
right?
Nice.
Like I said, I'm on a one-man crusade to show that education doesn't need to be expensive.
Mhm.
I have all this knowledge. I didn't really pay for it. I paid for it with time and service,
Mhm.
right? But I didn't really pay for all this extra stuff right now. It doesn't have to be expensive. So if you guys are going forward, being a CFI, think about that.
Yep.
You're gonna get paid for your time on the airplane. I've already thrown away close to $1,000 on ground. I'm at peace with that. I'm making enough money to comfortably support my family and all this other stuff. Education doesn't need to be expensive. It's us that makes it expensive, right? We sue people for you cut me off, so I'm gonna call the FAA and give them your tail number. So now insurance is expensive. Or, hey, my engine failed, so I'm gonna sue the company for not giving me enough sum points. All right, well, now there's 13 sum points on an engine. And we have to do 5 times as much maintenance to maintain it. That's more expensive. Education is expensive. Well, I had to pay $1,000 for my education, so I'm gonna make you pay me $1,500 to recoup my costs and being able to afford to live. See what I mean?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. All right, that's about all I got for you guys.
All right, Brandon, thanks a lot for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And if you see me wobbling around later, it's either because I'm happy and I passed and I'm drunk, or because I'm sad and I didn't pass and I'm drunk.
Or even more drunk. Which one's to be more drunk?
Yep. Good luck, man.
Joe, see you later, man.
See you, man.
That's just all good stuff, huh?
Yeah. Okay. Ending timestamp. Let's get it accurate. Saturday, March 2nd, 2019, 9:59 and 31, 32, 33 seconds. Ending stream.